Hey, Grant Fritchie. I work for Redgate Software. I want to talk to you about extended events. Better still, I want to talk to you about wait statistics. Better still, I want to talk to you about stored procedures. Better still, I want to talk to you about how to capture wait statistics on your stored procedures. Individual calls and their wait stats. Wouldn't that be useful? Yes, it would. So now, there's a bunch of ways you can do it, right? You can look at your wait stats, SysDB wait stats if you're in Azure SQL database, or SysDMOS wait stats if you're in SQL Server. You can look at those before and after you run a query, and assuming there's no other queries running on your system, you might, actually get what happened for that one query. You can certainly look at the wait stats that are inside the query store now in SQL Server 2017 and in Azure SQL Database. You can look at those wait stats. But if you really want to just capture wait stats and you're running 2012 or better, let me show you how you can use extended events to look at an individual query call and capture the wait statistics for that query. All right, so I already have a set of wait statistics running that are showing off how the extended events work, but I'm not going to use those just yet. What I want to do is show you how to set up your own. So we'll start off a new session, and that'll open up. There's a load running on the machine, so it's running a little slowly. There we go. So we can call it whatever we want, proc wait stats or something along these lines. And you can start it up with the server startup. You can immediately start watching the data if you want to. That's your call, how any of that stuff works. But what I really care about is we have to enable causality tracking. We need to know immediately which events are related one to the next. That's a major part of how this is going to work. So the events that we're interested in, now there's any number of ways we could do this. We can use SQL Batch Complete. We could use RPC Complete. In this case, I'm going to use two modules. I'm going to use say modules. I'm going to use module end, which is a way of capturing stored procedure calls, and I'm going to use RPC complete, which is also another way of capturing stored procedure calls. I can also add in RPC starting, all kinds of other stuff. Now, why am I using two? The main reason is that module end is very good at capturing exactly which stored procedures have been run. RPC complete is also good at capturing stored procedures, but only if they're called a certain way through the remote procedure call methodology. Now, funny enough, my PowerShell script that I'm running that's testing all this stuff, it will call the stored procedures, everything runs, but it calls the stored procedures through sp_execute SQL, and so that's the quote module that runs is sp_execute SQL, even though what's actually called is a stored procedure. So it interferes with the way I can capture some of the parameter values. So I will usually capture both so that I can see parameter values, and then I will just relate them back. Now, the other things that we could capture are wait statistics. Now, in this case, there's two that we really care about. Wait info, which occurs when there's a wait that occurs inside of your processes. Now, the waits that it has, this has waits start and wait end. So we can put this on here, but I wouldn't recommend it most of the time because it is a start and end thing. It's going to add to a whole bunch of extra data that you're collecting. You may need this for a drill down, but you wouldn't need it normally. Normally what we're going to capture is wait completed. Just capture the wait completed. You'll get all the information you need, which is the wait itself and the duration on the wait and any kind of signal stuff that it had. Normally I would not use the wait info. So if you have these three, again, you could use SQL Batch Complete and some others. But something like this would absolutely enable you to capture stored procedures and their weights. But here's something really important. What we're going to do is we're going to configure filtering on these things to ensure that we capture a very limited set of stuff. First up, I'm definitely going to capture only on the AdventureWorks database, right? I only want to capture that. And then on the module end, I can ensure that I only capture a very particular stored procedure. Oops. DBO dot, and then you put in the stored procedure name. Again, I'm not going to do this right now because I've already got the other one running that we're going to use. But I put in a stored procedure name. I will only capture that stored procedure. If I want to do RPC complete filtering, you're going to be able to have object name, but again, in my case, that object would be something wrong. So probably what I will use is I will use the statement, and then I will use a like operation so that it contains a string equal to the stored procedure name. That's just an easy way to track it down there. But then as far as the weights go, you're going to have to probably add global actions to try to capture them based on either query strings or through the query hash, or plans through the query plan hash, but you can filter it down using matches that way from the other objects in the name. Or you can just more or less capture some of the weights and then deal with them later. Here's what I'm doing live on my other system. It's running right now, and so you can see I'm capturing RPC started and then RPC complete. RPC starting, and then RPC complete, and the module end. So we ran within one transaction, within one related set of values, we had 2 RPCs run, and then some other things. But in particular, you can see the weight info, and if we go down here, we can see that it's the opcode begin, and then weight info opcode end, and then we get to see the weight completed, and then you can see the values there. And so each of these things are occurring in order. All of the weights that for this one procedure, in this case, nothing but SOS scheduler yield for literally no effective duration, but that was the weights experienced by this query. It's a very simple query. It's not returning very much data, as you can imagine. But this gives us exactly a method for capturing weights per query. And so you can narrow these things down very quickly, very easily, and start to put this to work, capturing the stuff you need in order to achieve knowledge in your system. That's it. Thanks for watching. My name is Grant Fritchie. I work for Redgate Software.